Delia Popa, and I'm an artist from Bucharest, Romania. And my presentation is going to be mainly about my collaboration with a curator called Anca Mihuleț. And our collaboration is based on friendship. And just to say a little bit about myself, I grew up in Bucharest, and I studied at the Fine Arts Academy there. I trained as a painter, and then I left Romania for London, and I studied in London, and then I studied in Chicago at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. And that really changed my perspective on art. I did a lot of interdisciplinary courses, and I pretty much tried all the art forms, especially performance, video, and writing. And then I came back to Romania in 2008, and I found myself pretty much alone as an artist, as a lot of artists do. Luckily I met Anca in 2009. She is a curator at the Contemporary Art Gallery at the Bruckenthal Museum in Sibiu, which is a German heritage city in Transylvania, in the middle of Romania, which focuses on contemporary art, and especially on conceptual artists, conceptually emerging artists. And meeting her and my friendship with her allowed me somehow to continue making art and to developing my artwork in the Romanian context. And I found the Romanian art scene very foreign to me. It was very different from the Chicago art scene. And I'm now slowly trying to find my place in that art world. With Anca, we are kind of experimenting this collaboration between artists and curator, and trying to define our roles. And we are both interested in marginality, the concept of marginality. And as artists, and of course, and as curators, we found ourselves in a marginal position in society, and we try to find other places of marginality and other people who find themselves in the same position, and to work with these roles. So I'm going to say a little bit about the Contemporary Art Gallery of the Bruckenthal Museum. It was established in 2007. And it's a very strong platform for exhibiting contemporary art in the context of a traditional museum. Samuel von Bruckenthal was a German important person in the scene of the 18th century. He was in close contact with the Habsburg Empire. He had administrative positions within that empire in the Transylvanian region, and he also had a very big art collection. And in the 18th century, there was an opening to collections and to the collections of strange objects that can be seen in his collection and in the museum right now. And the Contemporary Art Gallery is really an initiative of Liviana Dan, a curator there, who works with Anca Mihuleț. So basically the Contemporary Art Gallery is a two-people initiative, and this is Vlad Nancă, another artist also about my age, who reinterpreted an artwork by a Romanian artist called Ana Lupaș. This is called The Road. He works a lot with the relationship between the human body, so the human scale, and and natural materials like wood and textiles. And this is a very recent exhibition called Desire is War, and it's about queer culture, which is something very new to Romania. It's called Desire is War, and it involves a lot of international artists as well as Romanian artists, and it problematizes the idea of sexual identity and sexual difference. And in the context of with the experience of these exhibitions, Anca Mihulet initiated an exhibition in 2009 called Only Cowards Die Without Having Fun at the Contemporary Art Gallery, the International Center for Contemporary Art in Bucharest, in which she asked three artists, including myself, so Katia Lee, Eliad, Dragoș Bădiță, and myself, to imagine a situation in which they are kind of secluded on a foreign or deserted planet, and they have to prove their humanity. And they have to do that in the context of the artist studio. So the exhibition was mainly a reconstruction, or an imaginative reconstruction of the artist studio, in which they had to think about their own humanity. And I'm going to talk about my contribution to that project, which is mainly a video called Man Menelu, which is inspired by Romanian gypsy pop songs called Manele, that are very popular to subculture of Romania, and which are mainly very intense with regard to feelings, and have Indian and Arabic influence, but which are very, very kind of not popular with the intellectual elite. So they're really a subculture. And what I did was, when I had a residency in Paris, I also had a very kind of serious situation in my personal life. I had a heartbreak, and I used that to kind of feel the emotional intensity of these songs. So what I did was I interpreted the lyrics of the Manele, and I used it as a journal. I used them I recited these lyrics in my everyday life in Paris, including when I was going to restaurants, or I was visiting the Louvre, and it made me connect a lot with these songs. And in my opinion, in Romania at least, there's a kind of social divide with regards to expression of feelings. So somehow the intellectual elite has the opportunity, or has the choice of talking about concepts and ideas, and the subculture, the mainly Roma subculture, still has a certain freedom to talk about emotions. So it's kind of a masculine-feminine divide in a way. And for me, it was very interesting to listen to the songs and to also to relate to them, because I was really relating to them emotionally. And then when I was interpreting them, I had a sort of distance to them, and at the same time I understood what they were saying. So I was using a kind of stereotypical language to express universal feelings. And these are some images from the exhibition. And what I did was also with Anka, we took some images, some works from my studio, and we showed them in the gallery space, and they were not, they are chronologically very varied. So a lot of them were childhood drawings. There are also my university degrees. There were also plants that I have in my house. So it was pretty much an intimate space that we wanted to invite the audience to join. And what I did was I performed during the whole exhibition. So it lasted for about 7 days, and each day I would do my daily exercises, and visitors would come and I would interact with them, but I would also do my exercises. So it was, and I would also play the music that I usually listen to. So it was about my personal space, and the visitors could enter that. And here I am bending. And I have a personal archive of objects that people could read, and I could also explain what they were. And so we tried to create a space in which visitors could engage, and it was a lot about preparing an exhibition and the process of preparing an exhibition more than having an actual exhibition. And here is Anka and me, and in the back it's a drawing that I made in about 1989. And this is another project that we developed last year and this year. And it happened while I was visiting Sibiu. There was a theater festival, and there was a big corporation funding this festival. And we were really against the way they presented themselves. It's a big debate in Romania. It's about a mining initiative. It's a Canadian company that wants to have a mining project in a gold mining project in Transylvania, and they are trying to say that they will offer work for people, but they're actually wanting to destroy some mountains. So it's a really big debate about it. And we wanted to intervene in a personal way. We wanted to put some stickers in the city, and the only way we could do that was to disguise ourselves as men at 3 in the morning, because the police is really very vigilant in Sibiu, especially because it's a historic center, and there's cameras everywhere. And the only way we thought was very safe for us was to disguise ourselves as young teenage 20s men. And while we were doing that, we started talking to each other, and we started actually impersonating these young characters. And we gave each other names, Poli, Poligonu, and Manolake. And I am Poli, and Anka is Manolake. And these are some studies that we did after, because we actually lost the initial footage we had. And this is Anka. And this is actually developing into a real project, because we found that this impersonation was very kind of safe for us, actually not safe, but liberating for us. It made us feel in a way safer, and in a way more free, especially walking during the night. And we're planning to have these impersonations in real life in other situations, and we're gonna do residencies with these characters in Brussels next year. And this is another project that we did together, also starting from the idea of a studio or of a place that does not want to replicate a space, but wants to talk about the ideas and the atmosphere of a space. And it was called the Collector's Room, and it was exhibited at the National History Museum in Bucharest. And it starts from the collection of the Brukenthal Museum. It's about the collection mania of the 18th century, with its different objects and cabinet of curiosities. But it also has an imaginative part in the sense that, for example, these two carpets are from my own house. They're from my mom's collection. And they're Romanian carpets, and they're probably 19th or 20th century. And we really didn't want to display objects as we know with a label and the exact chronology, but we wanted to just show the atmosphere of that time period. And this is kind of how it looked. And the last project I want to talk about is a project we will do in 2012, and it's called Celen Amenka, and it means dance with us in Roma, in Gypsy language, in Romanian Roma. And it will involve myself as an artist and my former teacher from Chicago, Ellen Rothenberg, and Anca Mihuleț as a curator at the museum. The images are from a spontaneous workshop that happened in Bucharest in 2010 when I was working on another project, and some Roma children joined us, and they just started to draw. I had some drawing materials, and they started to draw with me. And it was a fantastic experience that made me want to work with Roma children. And I actually worked with them in a school during 2011, and it made me want to offer them the possibility to work more with contemporary art. And Anca invited Ellen and myself to do that in Sibiu, because there's a large Roma community in Sibiu. We are trying to find sponsorship right now to work with them, and to also make an exhibition after the workshop with children and young people in Sibiu. So that's about it. Thank you very much.